The Supreme Court has dismissed Rivers State Governor Fubara's appeal against the Rivers State House of Assembly, specifically challenging the leadership of the assembly led by Martin Amaewhule. Now, the court's decision was made after Fubara's lawyer, that's Yusuf Ali, withdrew the suit, stating that the appeal had been overtaken by events. The respondents, however, did not oppose the withdrawal, but requested a cost of 2 million naira, which the court granted before dismissing the appeal. This development is significant as it opposed the leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly under Martin Amaewhule. Now, the court's ruling also highlights the importance of the separation of powers and the independence of the legislative arm of government. Let's listen to what transpired at the court today.
For the first and second respondents, that is the Rivers State House of Assembly and Right Honorable Martin Amaewhule. The appeal by the governor of Rivers State was dismissed by the Supreme Court this morning following the notice of withdrawal by the governor of the appeal he filed. Consequently, the decisions of the Court of Appeal and that of the Federal High Court, presided over by Honorable Justice Somotosho J., affirming the authentic members of that House of Assembly and remain so, and that Martin Amaewhule is the leader, that is the Speaker of the House of Assembly. So that is the position today, and I must add that the Court of Appeal had admonished and clearly stated that the House, purportedly being led by a three-man panel, is not the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Appeals have been taken and judgment reserved in respect of the appeals. You know, we won at the Court of Appeal and the other side came on appeal to the Supreme Court. Luckily today, the 6 appeals were heard and judgment has been reserved. So we'll await the day of judgment. The date will be communicated to the parties and then we'll all be here.
With respect to what happened this morning, as you are well aware, we filed an appeal against the judgment of the Court of Appeal in respect of the budget of the state. The budget has since expired. We are now talking of 2025 budget, but that appeal had to do with 2024 budget. Secondly, with respect to the defection, the legislators, it was after the judgment of the High Court, Judge Somotosho, and the Court of Appeal, that they defected. So the question of their defection is now pending before the Federal Court in Port Harcourt. So, and that is why we withdrew the appeal on the ground that it has been overtaken by events. All right? So it was our own, we withdrew the appeal, contrary to the misinformation that has been created in the minds of Nigerians. We withdrew the appeal, and that is the normal thing, to have it dismissed, because we have joint issues.
So having withdrawn it, does it not mean that Amaewhule remains the Speaker?
No. He has defected. After the judgment of the lower court, he has defected. And that is being challenged now in the Federal High Court.
Of course, joining me to discuss this on the program is Qudus Alalafia, as a legal practitioner. He joins virtually. I also have Wisdom Jumbo, who also joins virtually. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let me start with...
Thank you very much.
Great. Qudus, let me start with you. You're a legal practitioner. Can you help us make sense of this, what I call it, legal proceeding right now? Because right now the argument seems to be as regards, does this, refer to the Martin Amaewhule, team or faction of the House, or does it have to do with the presentation of the state budget, which was highly controversial?
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing that I would like to mention is that the ruling of the Supreme Court of Nigeria today is not in any way in support of any of the faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly. It is just a ruling arising from the proceeding of the court today, whereby or wherein the appellant withdrew their appeal. That's the first leg. The second leg is that, as stated by the Lolo Isaiah-Opuende, you will see that the appeal that was withdrawn from the Supreme Court is an appeal emanating from the issue of the 2024 budget presentation to the Obojobo's led House of Assembly. So it is not the issue of their defection, but issue of whether or not the governor could have validly presented budget to about 3 or 4 members of a House of Assembly, which of course in law, giving credence to the judgment of the Honorable Justice Omotosho J and that of the Court of Appeal, they nullified it. So as it is in law, 2024 budget is as it stands, seems to be null and void, going by the judgment of the Federal High Court and that of the Court of Appeal. However, issue of whether the Amaewhule's led House of Assembly, issue of whether or not they are still members of the House of Assembly is what the Lolo Isaiah-Opuende is saying that is now pending before the High Court in Port Harcourt. So basically, the appeal that was dismissed today is not related to the to the defection or to the alleged defection, if I can put it that way, because the court has not ruled whether or not they are members or they are not members. I'm referring to the Amaewhule's led faction of the House of Assembly. But rather, what happened today is the issue of the appeal emanating from the 2024 budget presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that, of course, insight. I would like to come to you, Wisdom. I mean, from what you've observed so far to the build-up of what we are seeing right now, for you, what does this reflect, as regards the politics in Rivers State?
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on the show this evening. Look, what we are seeing is our judicial system, of course, is being enriched by this process, and we are watching quite a lot of things play out, and which will help our jurisprudence. However, we want to say that, or I want to say rather, that dismissing that case today speaks a lot. The judgment of Justice Omotosho in January 2024 was blown into some hula baloo, if you remember, and different sides of it were coming up. Well, but what did that judgment really say in January 2024? And the judgment clearly said, nullifying whatever Edison Year and his group did, if you remember, and also nullified the budget of 2024 that was passed to 3 members, which is a breach to the Constitution. So that matter is what has gotten to the Supreme Court today, and which, of course, the governor has withdrew his case. The lawyer can help us. When you withdraw your case from court, when you appeal a case and you withdraw it, what does it mean? Does it nullify the judgment of the lower court that has been passed? So what we are saying now is the governor has spent monies of the state in breach of the Constitution because there was no 2024 budget as it is. So that's a case on itself that we will need to revisit at a due time. But we like what is happening, and we want to see that the Supreme Court will indeed conclude on all the cases that's heard today and pass judgment on a later date. But the facts are already coming out one step at a time. So, but there are many misleading information in the public, already on this dismissal that has happened. But the facts are clear, and some of us in Rivers State, we are seeing gradually that the facts will begin to come out. So it means that we have spent money as a governor in breach of the Constitution you had no budget. So because withdrawing your case today from the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court dismissing the matter, it means that you spent money for a whole fiscal year and you had no budget for it. So what it also means is that the budget of 2025 was presented to still 3 members, which is in a breach of Section 96 of the Constitution. So what do we do at this case? It means that that budget is also null and void. So if a governor is spending money without proper appropriation, because the judgment of Justice Omotosho also told the governor to represent the budget of 2024 to the rightful assembly led by Martin Amaewhule as the Speaker of the House. So he did not do that. But now everybody is talking about defection and no defection. Well, we'll leave the matter for the Supreme Court to conclude. But Justice Omotosho's court said, what you did to 3 members or with 3 or 4 members is an breach of the Constitution, nullified that process, and said, go back and represent that budget to the rightful assembly, led by Right Honorable Martin Amaewhule. Did the governor do that? The answer is no. It is that same matter that has gone to the Supreme Court today, and you have gone to withdraw, and you are saying events are overtaking it. Mind you, if you recall, still on that judgment, there were several prayers, laid before the court that judgment were passed. The budget was only 1 out of the 7 of them. The budget was only 1 out of the 7 of them. So, but we are watching things play out, and today the Supreme Court has heard all matters, especially the ones bordering on the local government and the local government election that happened. And he has reserved judgment on the later days, as we heard from the learned silks, and we look forward to a date for the final judgment.
All right. Wisdom, thank you for that. Of course, I'm still going to come back to you, Qudus, to look at the ripple effect of this particular judgment on activities and actions of the past by this administration. What are we looking at happening, as regards the political landscape in Rivers State as a result of this judgment? But we'll do a deep dive into that once we return from this break. Stay with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and we're looking at recent developments in Rivers politics, where there's a Supreme Court judgment as regards the activities of the State House there. I still have my guest with me, Qudus Alalafia, a legal practitioner, joining virtually from Abuja, and also Wisdom Jumbo, who of course is a public affairs analyst, who also is joining virtually. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Now, Qudus, from a legal standpoint, let's look at the ripple effect of this judgment on activities and directive, even policy initiatives that have, happened under this administration. What is the snowball effect we're looking at as a result of this judgment in the coming weeks?
All right. Thank you very much. You see, the most unfortunate situation is that, with due respect to the executive governor of Rivers State, I think he's not really paying attention to the implication of the concurrent judgment of the Federal High Court and that of the Court of Appeal. And his conduct today of withdrawing his appeal at the Supreme Court, which was dismissed, by the implication of being dismissed, you can't take it back. So which means, as it is, the governor has expended 2024 budgets illegally. That is the law, as we speak. So, which, to a very large extent, is a should I say, is an or whatever it is amounts to gross misconduct, which is an impeachable, which may lead to impeachment. So that's, as we speak today, it means the governor has spent the revenue, money belonging to the Rivers State people, without a budget, duly recognized under the law. That is the first thing. The second thing is that, you see, when you are interpreting a court judgment, you interpret it stricto sensu in line with whatever that is placed before the court. However, same judgment can have implication. Now, if you look at the judgment of Honorable Justice of Motoshaw up to the Court of Appeal level, which says, okay, the Ubojombos led faction are not recognized. Or in another way, you couldn't have presented budget to 3-member panel. That being the case, return to present to the appropriate members of the House of Assembly. Even though whether or not the issue of defection came after the 2024 election, I mean the 2024 budget presentation, whether or not it came after is not an issue anymore. What is clear is that whatever presentation, activities, relationship the executive arm of government has had with the Ubojombo-led House of Assembly in River State, by virtue of that judgment, is an implication. It's a consequential. Once a drop of water is contaminated, and you drop that same water in a large portion of water, that large portion will not cure that drop that has already been contaminated.
I mean, just quickly to help our viewers at home make sense of this whole legal process. At some point, the lawyer of the governor, that's Yusuf Ali, withdrew the suit, stating that the appeal had been overtaken by events. I mean, one would want to wonder, why did they take that route to pull their suit?
Well, it is in their, you see, they represented the governor. They have their reasons, but obviously, what they fail to see is that their withdrawal has not cured the the consequence of the judgment of the Federal High Court and that of the Court of Appeal. If you are saying it has been overtaken by events, agreed, because we are now in 2025. But the issue was, as at the time you were spending the 2024 budget, you are spending revenue of the people of River State. There was already a judgment that was saying that is illegal spending. Now you are saying it has been overtaken by event. No. Disability, legal disability is not cured by virtue of time. So therefore, as we speak, like I said today, the governor has reacted or has acted on an illegal, unlawful budget. And today it stands, which I said amounts to gross misconduct, which is usually dealt with by way of impeachment. But if you now go further looking at the consequence of that decision, it therefore means that whatever, because there is already a judgment which the Court of Appeal has affirmed, and in all situations where it is found that similar actions are still being presented to this same set of people, the court will always render it invalid. Like I used to say, law is not anything that is officially done, but whatever must be officially done must be done in accordance with the law.
Okay, now let me leave you for a moment, Qudus. I know that there's a lot to say, but we are really trying to manage time here. Let me move to wisdom. Wisdom, let's look at this, from a broad perspective, politically this time around. We know that the Fubara administration from the get-go, had been fighting quite a very intense political battle between himself and the immediate past governor, who is now the minister of the FCT. And they have followers and following. Now, with this recent development, what do we see happening on the political landscape in Rivers?
You see, and I must thank the legal practitioner on the program this evening. He has really given good insight to what will happen next. When we have a governor who would not adhere to court judgments or the rule of law, then, what we're experiencing now is what it is. So what is going to happen to our politics is, in fact, things are going to shape up by the time we have all the judgments of the Supreme Court at the end of the day. Things are indeed going to shape up. The actions of the governor will now be analyzed vis-a-vis the facts that have been presented in court and the court judgment that will be speaking to that effect. So what it means also is that those 3-man assembly, which the appeal court said is a joke taken too far, of course, it has been clear now that all actions they must have carried out is null and void, and they carried out quite a lot of actions. Aside the budget that they've been claiming to be reviewing and passing under 2 days, they've also screened certain people as commissioners as they claim, and other special advisors in government. All of it is a nullity. So any commissioner that has been screened, or so-called commissioner, including the so-called, he said is a commissioner of justice of the state, all of that is a nullity. So you can't put something or nothing. That's what is playing out at the end of the day. So all of this, not only will it shape our jurisprudence, as a country, it's going to shape our politics in Rivers State. At the get-go, at the beginning, it was a fight that was not needed in the first place. You can't have 27 men against you, and you have 3 men, and you think it makes enough sense for you to continue with the way you have been going. So the court, like the appeal court says, is a joke taken too far. And the constitution is clear on the provisions of how many people must conduct the business of an assembly. It was clearly stated in the constitution. There must be a quorum. There must be a quorum to form, any business of the day. If you don't form a quorum, anything you do as an assembly is null and void. 3-man out of 32 assembly cannot, will not, should not in any way. So we will see that the politics will be shaping up, everything will fall into line, and we hope that the governor at this juncture, especially when the judgments will come, will begin to adhere to court rulings. I'll tell you why they withdrew the case today and why it was dismissed. It's because they were clearly avoiding the sledgehammer of the Supreme Court. Because the merit, if you look at the merit of this case, indeed in itself, there is no merit of it. Because at the end of the day, what are you going to tell the Supreme Court justices? That a governor who was elected to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he swore to pass or use monies of the state without proper appropriation, and presented a budget to 3 members of an assembly out of 32. It's an aberration of itself. Right, so I think the lawyers were wise enough to avoid the sledgehammer, of the Supreme Court on the governor by wisely withdrawing the case, from the Supreme Court, which of course means that you are in conformity or you are in agreement with whatever the appeal court must have passed as judgment. So we move forward with this, and just to see that the politics will shape up, and of course it will be clear to Rivers people, many Rivers people, that this fight in itself at the beginning was just an empty one in the first place.
I mean, we of course will pay very much attention to the happenings in Rivers, as we've always done. But I'd like to say, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Qudus Alalafia, legal practitioner and also Wisdom Jumbo. It's been a pleasure. Gentlemen, once again, thank you. At this point,
thank you so much.